Just as it looked like the soccer plan was set, whiplash, a big switcheroo, but does it change the logic? And from city clerk to marijuana proposals, we'll get you set for this week's Election Day. Today is Sunday, November 5th, 2017, and this is Flashpoint. Hi, welcome to Flashpoint. First Sunday in November, so 2 days hence, we head to the polls. We've talked quite a bit about the mayoral race in Detroit. This morning, we'll get you prepared for Election Day by looking at what else is at stake. City council races, certainly, and a very interesting race for city clerk. Also, there are 2 marijuana proposals on the ballot. What are they all about? And what will passage or failure mean as the city tries to find its way through what has turned out to be a very crowded and complicated medical marijuana field? We'll sort that out for you this morning. We're also going to talk about the surprising news that broke on Thursday. It seemed it was smooth sailing finally for the land swap deal designed to solve Wayne County's jail problem and in the process clear space for a downtown stadium for a pro soccer team. Boom. All of a sudden on Thursday the stadium was gone and the plan was to bring pro soccer to Ford Field, home of the Detroit Lions, which means a wild partnership of elites. Dan Gilbert, Tom Gores, and now Martha Ford. So I wonder if you are the MLS, does that look like a huge dose of legitimacy and power for your league, or does that look like Godzilla coming through the door? And back to the land itself. It seems that Mayor Duggan and Wayne County Executive Warren Evans are fine with the change, but are you? And the mayor takes a pre-election hit on his insurance reform plan. A very packed morning today on Flashpoint. All right, we'll get to Election Day in a minute. Let's start this morning, though, with the big surprise change in the plans for Major League Soccer in Detroit. Very happy to have back with us Arn Tellem, Vice Chairman of the Detroit Pistons and part of this big team that's been put together for an MLS bid. Arn, I think a lot of people were taken aback and shocked by the announcement on Thursday, and I had some people say to me, wow, amazing that you can just rearrange your whole bid that quickly, and then I had some other people who were far more cynical that said, no, this was a bait and switch of the highest order, and this was the plan all along in a kind of land grab. What would you say?
Oh, no.
How did it happen?
We went through a long analysis as we were looking at the options to build a stadium, and we hired outside consultants to help us who had gone through the MLS process many times before. And after a careful research and examination, looking at every possible option, we came to the conclusion that the best option was staring us right in the face the whole time, that it was Ford Field, that the key to a team's success in the MLS is location. And there's no better location in all of the MLS, which is in the heart of an urban core, is Ford Field. And it's right there, and it's ready built, and it's underutilized. And it's a magnificent stadium that just went through $100 million in renovations. And it's within a stone's throw of the business district and all the other facilities.
It's already hosted a number of big-time soccer matches. It seems to be built for soccer, but MLS made it clear that they have a preference. In fact, their first reaction, well, they said, we don't necessarily want to judge this bid too early, but their first reaction was, we have a preference for soccer-specific stadia. Does that kind of take you out of this then?
No, look, it's clearly a factor that we're going to have to deal with, but I think our story is compelling for so many reasons. One is, again, going back to the location. And Ford Field is a magnificent stadium.
There's no doubt about that.
And having the Ford family and the Detroit Lions, supporting our bid and potentially part of our group, I think only strengthens our group. And our group to begin with Tom Gores and Dan Gilbert was already incredibly strong. So we have so many good things going for it. I think it adds to the story. And yes, in the end, every city that's competing is like the Amazon bid. There's a lot of cities competing, and we're not all going to get it. But I think all of the factors that we have going for us are in our favor.
I think some would wonder, though, is it because it is a wonderful stadium, but is it too much stadium? The #1 attended city in MLS is Seattle at 44,000 fans a game, which is by far #1 in the league.
That's a football multi-use stadium.
That's a football stadium.
And Atlanta also now.
Atlanta is
now even outdrawing Seattle, or at least drawing comparable numbers to Atlanta. And that was Atlanta, which is the most recent example, was the team and the market and the location of the stadium sort of struck us as we were doing the analysis as a very good parallel. And it's a team that we would want to emulate, and I think we can here. And they've hit it out of the park.
They've got a retractable roof. Wouldn't Ford Field be the only indoor?
It would be the indoor, but if that's an issue, we can address that down the road. If that is an issue for the MLS.
Retrofit
well, I mean, I don't want to commit anything further, but those are issues that you can deal with. I think for us, in the end, it's the spirit of Detroit's rebirth, and just like us coming downtown and partnering with the Ilitch family in Olympia, we've seen that working together is a better way to achieve really great things here. And partnering with Dan Gilbert was the start for us. Yeah. And he's done so much in the city. You can't talk about Detroit's rebirth without first talking about Dan Gilbert. And having him involved and help lead this, and now having the Lions and Ford family and Ford Field, to me it gives us a powerhouse group, and that we'll be able to really make this a successful
I want to ask
franchise.
you about that group, and I would be remiss if I didn't say that this apparently does not change anything regarding the way that the jail is going to work now. Both the county and the city are staying on board with that. But I sort of joked about a little bit off the top of the program that to see Gores, Gilbert, and Ford all together in one ownership package could work, I guess, either way with the MLS. They could say, goodness, look at the legitimacy, the sports heritage that this brings us. So they could say that's a little intimidating a group for us to deal with.
I think they're very pleased that we're coming together. And again, it doesn't mean that it's a guarantee that we're going to get the team. There's a lot of factors that go into this, and other cities have strong bids as well. But I think it makes our case stronger, and it's a huge win for the city. It's a huge positive for our group. And if we get the team, it's ultimately about making it a successful team that's going to compete and do well for the future. And our belief is by the three of us being together, it's going to enable us to do that.
Does it change things that these teams are supposed to be awarded still, I believe, in December, and now all of a sudden you have to really completely change the way that your bid was structured? Are you worried about that at all?
No, I'm not worried about that. Okay. We can do that, and we'll be able to make a very good presentation in the next month.
Let's move to something that I think has been a little glaring to some folks who've been watching both the Pistons and Red Wings on television so far, and that's a lot of those red seats being visible on TV. Now, clearly, at the first couple of games, people are wandering around, hanging out in all these restaurants that have been created and are checking out the place. But attendance isn't where a lot of people expected it would be. Are you concerned yet?
No, our attendance actually, I don't know where these numbers are getting at. Our attendance
it's just the visual is what people are judging.
Our attendance is up significantly from where we were at the Palace. It's up over 20%. Our numbers for the course of the year, as far as our gate receipts, are going to be up 60 to 70%.
Well, you raise ticket prices, they will be up.
But the attendance, really, the bottom line is having people there is going to be up 20 to 25% we're projecting for the year, if not more, depending upon, obviously, the team's success. I think the key is the Ilitch has built a great building. It's maybe too nice. And everyone's experiencing the clubs and the restaurants, and that's great. And there's 2,500 televisions, high-definition televisions, throughout the arena. It's an amazing building. So I think early on in the season, people are watching the game from a lot of different places, and they can hang out in the club and have free food and drinks and watch the game on television. I probably would be doing that too. It's a pretty good way to take in a game. So the point is, it's become a great destination. I do believe as the season goes on and people get more acclimated, people will be sitting in the seats. It's a nice problem to have. They're down there. Now we just got to get them from the clubs back into the seats to watch the game and cheering for the team. But I think that's only a matter of time.
Cool. And the Pistons are off to a great start.
We're off to a great start, so that helps.
Thank you very much for being here. We'll watch what happens
pleasure.
over this next month and a half as we expect the announcement to come from Major League Soccer. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
We'll continue. We'll get you set for Election Day after this on Flashpoint. All right, welcome back. Let's get you set for Election Day. Keith Owens here, senior editor of the Michigan Chronicle, former Detroit City Council member Sheila Cockrell, who just had a birthday on Friday. Happy birthday, Sheila.
Thank you so much.
Chastity Pratt-Dawsey is here from Bridge Magazine and editorial page editor of the Detroit News, Nolan Fenley. Before we get to Election Day, Nolan, the mayor got something he didn't necessarily need just a few days before the election, and that was a rather sweeping defeat, 10 votes short of getting his no-fault insurance insurance reform package through in Lansing. We found that out on Thursday night.
The ineptness of House Speaker Tom Leonard never ceases to amaze me. He called this vote without having the votes just before an election with a guy he was supposed to be working with on this, needed a victory going into the election, or at least didn't need a defeat going into Election Day. The timing on this just surprises me, and the question then becomes, what the heck do you do now?
Sheila, it's odd that getting people's insurance rates down is such a hard sell. it's far more complicated than that, obviously.
Sure, but I mean, I think what comes out of this for Mayor Duggan is he really tried. It didn't happen in Lansing. It's not for lack of his meeting his promise to make every effort. They trying to move heaven and earth, I mean, multiple times. But to your point, I don't know what's next, but something has to happen.
But Sheila, this is arguably the most powerful Democratic elected official in the state, and he managed to get 4 Detroit Democrats behind this, and that's all for the Democrats. Every other Democrat voted against it.
What's going on there, Keith, with that relationship between the mayor and the congressional delegation from Detroit? I'm sorry, House Rep delegation.
Well, I think the problem is that, like I said, you would think there would be an easy sell of getting people's, getting insurance down, but the problem is the way it's being packaged. And that the way it's being packaged is that they're taking your eye off of the cheaper fact, and the fact you would have less coverage, and that you're more at risk, that you're going to be in danger if this passes, that you're going to be, like I said, in danger and a lot of trouble, and this is going to be bad for you, and if you get into an accident, you're in trouble. And that's where people are getting scared. The fact that half of the people in the population don't have insurance seems to get lost, thrown by the wayside. And I think that's where they're having problems.
Yeah. Chastity, I don't assume, though, that this changes your thoughts on what's going to happen on Election Day in the mayoral's race, but I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, I mean, at this point, the mayor is still far, far, far ahead on too many points and issues. The thing that we saw during the debate was he has, it's his election to lose. As long as he doesn't do anything crazy, it's his election to lose. And Coleman Young has to come out and do something to win. And he's not done anything between, primary and now to win. And this insurance issue is a statewide issue. It's not a Mike Duggan issue. So even though he lost going into the election, something that he was really fighting for with this driver's choice, it's not a deal breaker, I don't think.
Well, let's turn our attention then to what we expect is going to happen on Tuesday. Where's the drama going to come from? Nolan, what are you watching?
Well, I don't think it'll be in the mayor's race, although, you have to think that Mike Duggan would like to make a big statement on Election Day. And Sheila and I were talking before the show about what is that number that he has to reach to put a definitive stamp on this election. I think he needs to be north of 60%, given that he did better than that in the primary. So I think he needs to be north of
66, I think, percent in the primary.
So,
Yeah, I don't think that'll really be a problem. I think that'll probably happen. I think that once again, during the debate, what Senator Young needed to do was he needed to expand his base, and he did not do that. I don't think he lost points in that. So I think that won't be a problem for him. I think that where we'll really see some more drama, I think, will be in the city clerk's race. I mean, we have some, Gardner Gilchrist pulling within 7 points, and I think somebody who's out raising everybody. And I mean, virtually he came in with almost no name recognition, and now he's that close.
In fact, I don't think most of us didn't expect him to get past Hester Wheeler in the primary.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, that's already pulled off.
That's the real run. I mean, when you look at the polling, he was going in with what we thought was 2%, and he came out with 19, past Hester Wheeler, and now he's coming in within 7 points, striking distance of Janice Winfrey. So that's going to be an interesting race to watch.
He's raised 9 times more money than she has since the primary.
Extraordinary, isn't it?
It is extraordinary. Incumbents, especially clerks, usually mop the floor with their competitors, but again, 7 percentage points within her, with reach of her, with a 5-point margin of error. That's striking.
And a city clerk's race.
Campaign. I mean, he's running on all platforms. I mean, in some of the civic engagement things that we've done, he really impresses people in a one-to-one setting when he's talking to voters directly, and they're running an
a city clerk's race. This isn't the kind of race that normally gets, really attention. I mean, you don't think about people getting excited about a city clerk's race.
So
that get that kind of
I think it's a reflection of what happened during the presidential election.
Yes.
The embarrassment the city went through, and the potential impact the incompetence in the clerk's office might have had on the national outcome if they did indeed need to do a recall here, or had gone through with the recall here.
Recount.
Recount.
Yeah,
right.
recount. Anything that where we're expecting any drama in the city council situation? We only had one incumbent knocked off in the primaries, George Cushingberry. So there will be a change, but how much change will there be on the council?
I still think that the Jewel Ware, Mary Sheffield race is the one to watch because Jewel Ware has name, Sheffield has name, and they're really duking it out. That's going to be an interesting, down to the wire fight.
Yep.
Well, I mean, you've got to wonder what's going to happen in that that race between Virgil Smith and
Roy McAllister.
Roy McAllister, former police officer. And in our endorsement, we said if voters have a choice between a convict and a cop, you should take the cop every time.
I bet that. Go ahead, Sheila.
I think another race where there's been a lot of conversation is in the 6th District, Tyrone Carter and Raquel Castaneda Lopez. I think Councilmember Lopez has really a highly energized base of support, but a ton of money has been put behind Tyrone Carter, and we'll see whether...
By the Maroons, right?
Maroons is one place, some of the other businesses down in the neighborhood. So we're going to see whether basically suburban money can buy a council seat.
But it's money come lately, so I mean it's really literally still rolling in. So you wonder
rolling in.
how much impact is it going to have so late in the race?
Yeah.
Keith, what are you watching in the council race?
I'm looking more at the District 2 race. I mean, I agree. I agree. District 5 will be interesting. I think but I think just because I think George Cushingberry, who's been involved in politics for so long, and I think was surprised when he fell back to 3rd place, and I think that now he's coming as a write-in. I think he's got a long road ahead of him. I don't quite, see, I think it's going to be up, but I think just watching what's going to happen there, and also with Virgil Smith, even with his troubles with the law, et cetera, but he still has a committed base. I mean, he has the people who are looking past that and say that
name ID
and name ID
means so much.
Means so much, right?
Sheila, one of the things that we mentioned this in the debate that night. This is a really consequential election. Yes. If Detroit, as we expect, will be freed from all of these oversight shackles that they've had, this is a group that's finally ready to run, finally has some independence of thought and the ability to create a direction.
Right, it's 100% true. I mean, if the oversight from the Financial Review Commission lifts, as it is anticipated it will, this will be on a mayor with a mandate and a city council to literally craft without any oversight the future. It's
one of the things that we talked about in our debate prep that you mentioned, that it actually matters.
It actually matters, and it's interesting because I've not seen during this election really that come out in the discussion with voters, but independence is going to happen now.
Good stuff. 2 more things on the ballot. We'll talk about those when we come back. The marijuana proposals. This is Flashpoint on Local 4. All right, welcome back. 2 ballot proposals in Detroit regarding medical marijuana. What do they mean? Very happy to have with me Larry Gabriel, who's written extensively about the marijuana industry for the Metro Times, and Butch Hollowell, Corporation Counsel for the City of Detroit. And Butch, let me start with you because I think it's important to point out that while you have spent a lot of time trying to figure out how you're going to regulate this Detroit world, the city is not taking a position on what people should do with these ballots.
That's right. These are properly voter initiatives, which is democracy in action. So people can circulate petitions and put them on the ballot, and that's what's happened with Proposal A and B.
Are you with me, though, in saying that Proposals A and B may be a little confusing to read and figure out exactly what they mean in the end?
That's why I'm here.
Thank you. That's why I called you.
So
that's why I called you.
We can break it down very simply.
So Proposal A is mostly about the way that these marijuana shops are, and who knew there was such a business in green neon? I should have gotten into that a long time ago. But Proposal A is going to be in how they get licensed, right?
So A is licensing, B is zoning. Licensing is how does a business operate? B is where do they operate? A says, okay, we're going to make a change as it relates to, we're going to have 5 new licenses, which are like the state licenses for grow facilities, transport facilities, labs that can look at that, people who make the brownies, the product, and as well as the dispensaries. We only allow dispensaries today, so that would increase 1 to 5. The second thing is it changes the hours of operation. Right now you got to close at 8 p.m. and you can open at 10. It extends it for 2 hours. And then the third thing is it changes. The big change is we have a 1,000-foot rule, radial distance between a church, a park, a school, a daycare center. And so while Proposal A says we'll keep the 1,000-foot rule for the school and the library, only 500 feet for churches and other medical.
Let me bring in Larry. Then what's your upshot on what this really ultimately means? I think Butch has laid it out for us.
Well, I think it ultimately means that it'll be more accessible. If you vote yes on these, you're going to open it up so that there can be stores in more places. And the way the map looks now, if you look at the map that the city has for the zones that are allowed, when you look at it at first, you can't even see where it's at. And then it's kind of like, well, over here a little bit and over here a little bit. So, you know, I don't know that we need one on every other corner in the city, but, you know, it would be nice to have it more accessible.
The neighborhoods have to be respected, and that's what the ordinance does today. So because of the zoning that we have in B2, B4, M1, M4, it allows for about 50 facilities throughout the city today. Clearly, A and B would increase pretty significantly the number of facilities. The other thing that it would do is it would eliminate the public nuisances that we have that are written into the law.
Yeah.
So.
If you're someone who doesn't love the idea of medical marijuana or has been very skeptical about seeing this as sort of a subterfuge, that it's medical but really it doesn't take much to get a hold of one of the prescriptions or licenses for it, has that train already left the station? We're way past that point.
We're way past that point. The genie's out of the bottle. You know, so we have medical marijuana because the voters of Michigan in 2008 put it on the ballot. In 2016, the state legislature adopted new rules as it relates to that. So now it's just a question of fairly regulating it.
Yeah. My attitude is that, you know, it's here. And we're dealing with it, and it's really a matter of how we're going to do it at this point. And you know, you got to say that 80 years of prohibition have not been able to eliminate it.
Done much, it would
so
seem.
it's pretty much time for us to look at it and say, okay, this is how we're going to handle that.
There's also an awful lot of money to be made here.
Oh, yeah.
States like Colorado decided that it was kind of foolhardy to be bypassing the tax revenue and on and on and on.
That's still a mixed bag. I talk to the people in Colorado all the time, and the city attorney in Denver in particular. And so while there is some tax revenues, like for example, the state imposed a 3% tax on this current piece, you know, does it get outweighed by the enforcement dollars that get to be spent? I hear that from some folks. And the other thing is the city can't make money off of it because we can't charge fees in excess of the value of the services performed to do to do it. So,
Larry, I know you've done.
But there are many businesses that will be making money. This isn't just public monies that we're talking about. There's a lot of people who do all kinds of business that's legal business, you know. Lawyers are making money on this, you know, but, you know, the growing business, the transport business, the security business, the people who make the brownies, as he said earlier, and the people who actually sell. But then you've also got business like packaging, labeling,
it goes on and
marketing,
on. There's no doubt about it.
I mean, it just reverberates through every level. And if people are able to run a business and, you know, make an income, that's something you got to think about too in terms of the money.
We're just saying, just do it in a way that's fair to everyone. So right now, when it started in March of 2016, there were 283 facilities, and there was no regulations at all, and they wanted special treatment. You know, I mean, every business has to ask for a license, and they came in and did not ask for them. So we're just saying, just be respectful of the neighborhoods and go through the process.
There was no license to be had.
So if you don't have a license, then you have to go ahead and ask the city council to create one, which they did.
Well, which is what happened,
They did.
All right, guys, thanks very much. I hope that gives you a better understanding as you head into the voting booth on Tuesday. Thanks for being here. Thank you for being here as well. Watch your vote count with us Tuesday night here on Election Day as we head toward that. Meet the Press coming up next. Have a great week. We'll see you next time on Flashpoint.